Ferne, thank you so much for joining me on Headstrong.
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing? Build up to Christmas. We were just saying, you've bitten off more than you can chew potentially.
Yes, well, I don't know. I feel like I've got it under control. And then I have these like random spikes of panic where I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to order all the food. But I've got a great team. I'm hosting for the very first time and I've got 21 guests. Bear in mind though, 13 adults, the rest are children, 2 babies. But my mum's great, my brother-in-law's mum's great. So I'm like delegating jobs. But yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, for sure. Is there a McCann Christmas tradition?
So we love games.
Love it.
My sister keeps sending me games on social media. There's this random one with like a toilet roll and then all the gift wrapping on strings, and you pull up the string and whatever colour gift wrap you pull up, you have to then lift the matching one with the cup, and then you either get like a trick or a treat. So I hope I explained that well. It looked great on Instagram, and now as I'm saying it, it sounds really rubbish. But yeah, we love playing games. Our Christmas is always centred around food. We're big foodies. And do you like glam up on Christmas, or are you wearing pajamas?
I'll show you after. For the last 2 years, have worn a Christmas suit.
Stop it.
Yeah, green, like trousers and jacket and tie, full Christmas suit.
Has it got like Santa on it?
Oh yeah, it's got like, it is fully festive. Like it's got elves on and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty mental.
And you enjoy that?
I love it. Yeah, you'd have to. I mean, I've always loved dressing up, and you can make the most of it. Like,
yeah.
I know it's ridiculous. Christmas comes every year, but it's kind of like after 11 months, you're ready for it again, raring to go. I love it.
So true. I just think that you do have these like weird and wonderful traditions at Christmas, and why not?
Yeah.
Why not be festive?
Why not? Are you doing Elf on the Shelf this year?
I am.
Oh, okay. Are you running out of ideas yet?
Oh, what are we on? Day whatever.
We're filming on the 10th.
So I actually sent my partner a text last night and said, babe, can you do Elf on the Shelf? Then I screenshotted it and tagged him on Instagram so everyone would see it, and then he couldn't get out of it. I am running out of ideas. My elf has been pretty lazy this year and it's not going unnoticed. Sunday, my daughter is literally, she come downstairs one morning. She's normally full of excitement. She looked at it and she went, what the elf done was crack an egg. And then I drew a little face.
Yeah.
And then the egg was in the bowl. And then I wrote, Sunday, we told the egg a joke and he cracked up. Ha ha.
Love it.
Brilliant.
It's a Christmas cracker joke.
Yeah, exactly.
If you'll pardon the pun also.
And she looked at it and she went, it's not funny. And I was so deadpan. And I was like, okay. And she was like, it actually isn't funny and they're not cheeky this year. So I don't know if she's on the cusp of starting to lose the magic. She's fully in with the Santa thing. And I'm like, look, Elf on the Shelf's a massive commitment. And who is it for? Is it for social media competition because you're like, I can out Elf on the Shelf you, or is it for the children? Is it for yourself? It's just a big commitment that I have a love and hate relationship with.
Yeah, I get it. What I will say is thank God for TikTok and their ideas. I don't even have a child and I watch them.
Yeah. Are they like popping up on your Discovery?
Yeah, and now I'm just like, I should have several elves now popping around. But Christmas as a parent though, don't get me wrong, must be so exciting, but so exhausting.
Oh, it's so exciting. It's definitely hands down one of my favourite times of the year. And I think you just get to relive all of your favourite childhood Christmas memories with and through your children, and to see the excitement on their face. Having children around on Christmas Day just makes everything so more magical. I know it's so cliche, but my mum and dad used to put a satsuma in our Christmas sacks, and there's like different rules in every single household, but we wasn't allowed to open any of our Christmas presents that were under the tree until we had to get dressed and after breakfast, and all of this now that I'm making Sunday do. And it's just so fun, you know, putting the carrot out and the glass of milk and all of this. It's just so fun. And the genuine excitement, I don't know.
It's that raw emotion, isn't it? It's just like, as an adult, I'm trying to think of a comparison of that emotion. There just isn't something like that. Like, well, you know, like a kid
Yeah.
Seeing presents under a tree and
No.
like, that I'm feeling.
Yeah, so fun, so fun.
Like, there's nothing comparable for me, I don't think. Right?
No.
But anyway, but as a parent as well, there's that other side of the organising, as you're finding out, the stress. And then also, you know, a lot of families as well with that, the financial element and what society expects of a perfect parent or family of providing loads of gifts and stuff. And actually it's sometimes out of their control, like that from that financial element. So what kind of advice would you give to parents in that build up to Christmas if they are feeling overwhelmed with stress and financial burdens?
I think it's a lot of pressure, and social media definitely amplifies that, because you're like, oh, you see other people posting this perfect Christmas or a perfect lifestyle. I think with me and Sunday, because she's the age where she understands Santa and everything like that, whereas my baby's too young, I am very aware that I don't want to spoil her, and her birthday's it was only a month ago, so it's really close to Christmas. But I think that it's like not putting too much pressure on yourself, and don't compare yourself to others, because we're all in different situations. And I know it sounds like the obvious, but it is all about just spending time with your loved ones and just do what you can. I think people go overboard. Like, I draw the line at Christmas Eve boxes. Like, I'm not doing that.
No.
Even Elf on the Shelf is a lot. And I think I saw at Halloween, there was like boo boxes where it's like boo.
What a gift.
Yeah, where people, you know, families are now making their children Halloween boo boxes. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's too much. It is too much. And sometimes just a good old classic Christmas family movie all together, pop in a Christmas cracker and a pig in blanket is all you need.
Yeah, as you say, I think I know this sounds so cringe even when I'm thinking about it, but I'll say it anyway. It's the best gift for me is that one time of the year when my brother's there, my sister's there, my brother's wife is there, both my parents, and no one's on their phones. We're laughing, we're sharing food. You know, our gifts are way more meaningful than whatever else is there. Like, that is so enjoyable, and I think that is the most important side of Christmas that's often overlooked.
So special, time with your family. It's the one time of year that the pace of life just slows down.
Yeah.
I think exactly how you worded it, like you're present, not on your phones, and you're just having a merry time, hopefully.
Hopefully, I mean, yeah, until like the fourth bottle of red, and then it's like pandemonium. But anyway, another thing that we have to talk about, which we're going to briefly touch on because it's near the Christmas period. I'm a Celeb. It's just finished. Happy with the winner?
Yes, I think Danny Jones was a very worthy winner. The McFly guys just cream it, don't they? Whatever they do,
free competition.
They do very, very well. I think that they've got a very loyal fan base. They're very nice. They get stuck in. They're family guys, and they are brilliant. I think it could have gone either way, and I would have been happy with Colleen or Danny. I really wanted Oti Mabuse to win. I thought that she was like steady and really got involved, and the fact that she's got a really young baby and she was just there showing up with so much positivity, she would have been a great winner. I was sad about Maura. I was sad about GK. I feel like they brought so much, but it was a fantastic series, and kudos to the casting director of that series, because they've done a great job. Yeah,
they'll like to hear that for sure. But just from that mother's perspective, because I wanted to talk about Colleen, because, you know, in that final, when she was saying, the way that she was saying in that final, you know, I actually have had that opportunity to express myself. I look after 4 boys. I'm a full-time mum. And don't get me wrong, I get that they live a cushy life and they're incredibly privileged. Nonetheless, she is a mother. Being a mother is freaking hard work. And so having that opportunity to express herself, be herself, and have that time, it's beautiful.
I think a lot of mothers could relate, and I think Colleen Rooney, you can see it when she's with her boys. She is a hands-on mother. And I think, I could definitely relate, because I'm taking on the challenge of dancing on ice as we speak, training for it. And I think that no matter, you know, who you are or what you're doing, when you've got children, there's something really special. As much as I love my children, they're my world and they're my absolute priority. It's all consuming when you're a mother. They're always on your mind, and every choice you make is for them. But it's also really important, I think, to do something for you. Like, I love those moments where I can leave and just be me and just, like, at the moment, be on the ice rink and do something for me. I don't think I'd be able to be the best mum that I could if I didn't maintain something for me, because you lose your sense of identity when you become a mum. You're like, this tiny being is solely dependent and reliant on you, and you give so much of yourself, and it's hormones and everything like that, that you're like, oh, who am I? Like, who am I now? And sometimes you end up just becoming mum because they need so much of you. So you saw it with Colleen in the jungle. It's just wonderful when you have those opportunities where you can do something just for you.
We'll touch on dancing on ice imminently, but just from what you said there, it's, as you say, so important to fill up your own cup.
Yeah.
Like, literally, because you pour out so much as a parent. I know I'm not a parent, I'm a dog parent, but,
yeah,
you know, and I do basically do anything for it. But, you know, you do have to realise your sense of self and your self-worth. You need to make sure that you're doing stuff for yourself. And you can be selfish as a parent, right?
Definitely. I think that it's really important, especially for me. I am raising 2 girls. I love being a mum to girls. And I think that it's really important that they grow up seeing that I'm doing stuff for me and that I'm independent and I pride myself on my work and my commitments. And I think it's just, valuable that they see that as well.
Just on I'm a Celeb as well, because I wanted to talk about this opportunity of having no phones again, but on a drastic level. And your time in there, you spent a long time in there, you know, getting to the final as well. I mean, talk about being paid to detox. I just had to make sure I got that one-liner in. But whilst I'm joking, that human connection element, again, it just strips everything down, taking all luxuries of life in this first world away. And it's just building relationships. And I actually love that human element of the show in general, because you don't really see that anymore.
So true. And I think that's where we see people, the celebrities, getting so close. There's a lot of time where you're doing nothing. If you haven't been pulled out to do a trial or a Dingo Dollar challenge, then you are sat around doing not a lot. So you're getting to know. There's not anything else to do apart from your chores and your jobs, but getting to know the campmates that are with you. So you do forget about the cameras. Like, I know it sounds ridiculous. What you're seeing on TV is actually harder in the jungle. Like, you're hungry, you're tired, and you're craving any sort of comfort. And that is, like you said, that human element and that connection. Honestly, Louis, it was the best, one of the, hands down, the best times in my life, because I felt so lucky to have had that opportunity. And because I was a replacement, someone didn't pass a test, and they rang my agent. I had an interview, and 2 weeks later I was flying out to Australia. It was mad. Like, I could not believe my luck. I kind of feel like I manifested that, because I've always dreamt of what it would be like to be on a show like that. But when I got out there, I was like, this just feels so surreal. Like, I'm doing the jungle, like, absolutely insane. But when you're in there, you become, it's then your home environment. So you're just getting to know everyone, and you can't help, even if you go in there. I didn't have a game plan because I was just absolutely buzzing to be on Celeb. But even if you go in there with a bit of a game plan, masks will slip, and you end up becoming and showing your true authentic self, because you just forget about the cameras, like I said.
Yeah, I think that human element, it really gives that opportunity, because not often do we stop in life and reflect for that long, and it really showed the vulnerable side of certain people in a beautiful way, like talking about grief to complete strangers. But when you're in that situation, it is so beautiful, literally, because you're able to communicate on that deeper level, talking about, you know, mental health, talking about, as I say, grief. And I think that's such a rare opportunity in the world we live in now.
It was such a great moment when he was speaking about, a great moment, but, you know,
I know what you mean, for sure.
It was touching, and just, I think people really let their guard down and share and show their vulnerabilities.
So we're talking of dancing on ice now. I mean, how are you feeling?
I had a day. Today. Hence why I've got no mascara on, because I knew I was coming to this podcast and I thought I can't have any more tears.
No.
It's been a roller coaster and I'm really, really enjoying it now. But where it's learning a complete new skill, it's like, I would describe it like learning a new language. You can either speak French or you can't. You can either ice skate or you can't. And I couldn't ice skate before. I could get round and at Christmas time, help Sunday round, that kind of thing, but not like this. It is so technical. And I think where in anything in my life, I always want to do well, and hands down, I will always, no matter what, give my absolute best to anything that I do, that I'm just finding it frustrating. Today, the reason why I had a little breakdown, I had to, because I couldn't do something and I just felt really frustrated. And then we had a mini audience because Anton Ferdinand, who's also training at Chelmsford where I'm training, he invited like all the, it was great actually, all the local people that work there and all the families that normally skate there to come and watch us at 11:30.
That's nice.
And I just lost my head. It was nice and it was really good, really good practice for the lives, but the nerves, having the audience, it was a completely unique experience to just training and practicing. So it was really good to experience that, but the nerves overcome me so much. I did it and then I just was overwhelmed with emotion. But that's today.
Yeah.
It's up and down. And like some days I'm laughing. I've got such a supportive coach and partner, and it's brilliant. And I think it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. It's the first show where my full family, including my daughter, will be able to actually come and watch, because before she's always been too young. So I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait for the glitz and glam and everything like that.
Sequins.
Yes.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, something that is so evident in all the work that you've ever done is you're ambitious and you love a challenge. You want to get your teeth into something, both physically with Dancing on Us, but it's also so mental as well, isn't it? Because it is fatiguing learning something new like this. And it's a long journey, really, as well. Because like thinking about when you probably when was it? You started a few weeks ago?
About 8 weeks ago now.
Yeah, and then, show doesn't start until January. It's a lot of mental commitment to get into this.
It is. I do love a challenge. I have to have something in my life to have a focus on, like I said, away from my children, because then I feel like I've got drive and motivation, and I love it. It's what makes me feel alive, and I love that focus. I love learning something new, and I always want to challenge myself, whether it is physically or mentally. So it is hands down a challenge, but I'm up for it.
Before we talk more specifically on the kind of mental health side of things, are you going to call it for me now, Dancing on Ice? Are we looking at the winner?
I've got a goal where I want to get into the final.
Love that.
And because I've been asked before, like, do you want to win it? Anything I do, I'm not one of these where I'm like, oh, I want to win it and I will do anything that I can to win. I've got a competitive spirit, but from a team aspect, I'm a team player and I want to excel. And I think this stems from, I don't know, maybe feeling like I've got a point to prove, or maybe because I've come from like the reality background that I want to do well. I think with me personally, no matter what it is, whether it's cooking someone a meal or giving birth or SAS Who Dares Wins, whatever it is, or even this podcast, like when I'm turning up, know that I've done what I can in my busy life to prep, to give my all, because I want to show up as my best. So am I going to be well, if everyone votes listening to this podcast, then maybe it's public vote. I want to do well, and this is great for my it's a challenge for me. It's great for my confidence. I'm learning a new skill, and I'm just so happy that my daughters will be able to enjoy it.
I think that is something that's really beautiful for you. But let's look at that parenting side of things. As you say, you are thirsty for challenge and constantly have fingers in pies. Like, you are a busy person, right? But then on the flip side of things, parenting is full time, right? You can't just be like, man, not today, actually. You know, you've got to turn up, whatever the weather, right?
Yeah.
How do you draw the line being self-employed and the parenting side of things? Is there a blurred line? How do you kind of make sure that it doesn't cross over, or you're spending enough time doing that side of things? What's that look like, that setup?
Well, it's crossed over for many years because I had my reality show.
Yeah, but the balance of things, like,
Yeah.
you know, when you can switch.
Oh, it's a juggle.
Yeah.
And especially around this time of year, I feel that stretch. I think it's hard to, I know Lily Allen said recently that mothers can't have it all, and there was like an uproar and it was really controversial, but I don't think that they can, because I feel like I'm constantly juggling and spinning many plates, and then no matter what, something has to give. Like, you have to compromise on something or sacrifice something. If I'm looking after my children, then I can't be like, let's say content creating, like that's a full-time job. You could be doing that, searching the sounds, the trends, like that is a minefield that I'm like, oh, and then you can't be doing full-time on that. Also, I've got a responsibility where I've got deadlines with brands, then it's certain meetings, then we run a mental health app. There's lots and lots of, like I said, spinning plates, but I think it's really hard, and it's something that I really struggle with. When I'm with my children, I often feel like, Ferne, get off your phone. Like, even Sunday, I mean, our children are our biggest teachers. She will physically come up to me and go, Mummy, phone down. I love that. I love it, but it breaks my heart. And I think, oh shit, like, yes, I've been on my head's been buried in my phone, and it's a juggle. And I feel it all the time. I don't have the answers, but I know that I think mums are just trying their best. Busy working mums, you do it for them. I have to work, I don't have any other choice, and I love my work that I do, but also I love my children. You can't split yourself in two. So I think that when I'm with my children, I love to be as present with them as I possibly can. When I'm at work, I want to, you know, be present there too.
So do you instill and input boundaries, or is it just so difficult being self-employed? Because your job revolves around your phone, whether you like it or not, like, because that is how you communicate and get shit done.
Yeah, I've been so lucky where my job has allowed me to include my children. When I was a single parent with Sunday, and when newborns and babies, they're so portable. So I literally would be able to bring Sunday along to, if I was recording it this morning, or even this podcast, I would have brought her along, and she literally would have been here. There's been a few podcasts where I just brought my babies along, and if they needed me, I'd be sat there, even on live TV, breastfeeding them. Like, when duty calls, you just, you know, as a mum, you always just put them first. But then they turn into toddlers, and then they can't come along to things, obviously. But yeah, it's hard, the juggle.
So a question I feel like it's quite challenging, but I wanted to ask you, what 3 words would you use to describe your approach to motherhood, or your motherhood philosophy?
It's a great question.
And I have no doubt also that it was different 4 years ago to what it is now, and I'm sure it'll be different in 4 years' time. It's an evolving process.
Yeah, it's
but
true.
What it is now.
It's true, actually, because now I've got my second. I think with your second, you've definitely got more confidence, and you feel like, oh, okay, I've done this before. You've got the T-shirt sort of thing. 3 words, wow.
Or a sentence, whatever you choose.
Yeah, because you know what? My discovery, like the algorithm of my social media, just shows me like all of this gentle parenting. Are you aware of what that is?
No.
So it's like, and people do like little funny comedy sketches of it. So gentle parenting, which I'm so for, is basically you're putting your child's emotions first, which of course, like, this is what we should do. But when you're stressed, so everything is like, okay, so if your child is having a tantrum, they're like, it's okay. I get that you're feeling stressed. And I understand that you want to watch more Peppa Pig, and now we've got to get out the door. But I am telling you, Louis, like, as much as I try to practice this, when you're in a rush to get out, to get them to school on time, and you're getting the shoes on and this, that, and they haven't eaten all of their breakfast or what have you, or they've forgotten something, gentle parenting doesn't go out the window, but you have not got time to be like validating feelings and emotions at this moment. But I think, 3 words. I would say, I'm definitely not strict. It's a nightmare. I need to have more boundaries. My partner's good at that one, just setting the discipline. So I would say...
You've got to have a good cop, bad cop, though.
Yes, true. I would say I know every parent wants to say this, but fun.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm quite fun.
Yeah.
I think I'm laid back and loving.
Sounds like an absolute win being a child in your household.
Yeah, it's 3 words.
Yeah.
It's just only 3. I've left out the bad ones. I'm Mother of the Year.
That's 4 words. No, I love that. Now, parenting, as much as it is a gift, and so many people are so lucky to be a parent, it comes with the whole other side. As you even just saying there, sometimes just getting them out the door is a whole stress in itself, causes immense anxiety. How do you take this on with kind of a highly stressful professional life, partnered with stresses of parenting? What do you do to switch off? How do you kind of, detox that stress?
Decompress. Well, I commit to things that make me feel good before I show up as a mum, as a partner, as a professional. That sounded really like as a professional, but like my working person career. I'm big into early nights because my baby wakes up super early.
How early?
She's just broke out of waking up at 4 a.m. every morning. She had the cheek to wake up at 3:55 the other night. I was like, no, babe, it's getting earlier. But now she's going to 6:15, which is an absolute dream.
That's a win.
So early nights, I love working out, and cooking is my absolute therapy. Speaking to my mum every single day, meditating and the power of prayer, which I'm really getting into at the moment, and just like spending time with those that you can show up as your true authentic self.
You are hugely passionate, as is reflected in your beautiful app, about mental health, and everything that you've listed there. Because I'm not going to ask the question, I know are your kind of non-negotiables for your own mental health. There are so many things that one has to do to make sure that, you turn up as the best version of you that you can be. Let's take cooking, for example. What's your kind of go-to comfort meal?
Oh.
Like, what's on the menu at the moment that you're just like, yeah, that is making that and then eating that. That does wonders for me.
So I feel like I could cook a roast with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
And for me, that just, it just means so much love, having a roast with my family and my friends. So roast is like my ultimate comfort. I love chocolate. I love pizza. I love like cooking a big bowl of pasta, dim sum, glass of vino. I could go on.
Yeah, I love it. This is sounding good. Can I come? In a world that kind of is moving 100 miles an hour, you're also very good at reflecting. And I know that you journal as well.
Yeah.
What are the benefits of journaling? Because that's something that I struggle to do, writing down.
Yeah.
Because I spend so much time on my own, I actually just talk to my dog, and that's my journaling.
Good.
But I don't write it down. And what's the benefits of journaling for you then in your kind of mental health?
I think the power of just like getting it out, pen to paper, or whether you want to do that on your phone, we've got an amazing tool within our app, Shara, that it's just to sort of like have a brain dump, or it's just cathartic to release it. But look, I think with my mental health, I've figured out the tools, the triggers, and then the tools of like what works and helps and heals me. And that's going to be different for all of us. But journaling I think, it's sort of changed for me recently, because I feel like I'm almost like journaling and actually journaling to God. Like everything that I'm writing, I feel like I'm speaking and liaising with him, before it might be just like getting your words and your thoughts out, whether it's goal setting, manifesting, your gratitudes, or maybe it's just you're feeling some sort of way. I had a situation really recently where I was feeling really really stressed about something, and it was like doing my head in, and it was living in my head rent free, and it was going over and over. And my mum was like, "You mentioned this a few times now, like maybe you should act on it." And actually, I just wrote it down in my notes of all of this like stress and not anger so much, but like negativity, and just left it there. And I felt so much better. I've had therapy now. I even hate that. I'm like, oh, I've had therapy now. I have been meeting with my therapist for nearly 7 years, and I feel so lucky to have had this journey. And I think whatever works for you, I know that therapy is not accessible to and for everyone, but for me, it's whatever works for you. With therapy, for me, just being able to talk to someone, and 9 times out of 10, it's not the advice they're going to give, or it's not the advice that your friend's going to give. It's you speaking it through, or journaling, or putting it out there, or getting it out of your brain so you can create space to figure it out by yourself.
Yeah, I think what's really beautiful about what you were saying about the journaling, and then even further with therapy, is getting it off your brain. It actually alleviates even physical stress. You don't realize how actually, tense, tight, certain things genuinely make you. And sometimes even as soon as you say them, it's like crying, for example. I love a good cry.
Oh,
what a
crier.
release. And honestly, after a cry, I'm kind of like, it's like reset. Amazing.
I feel the same.
So much better. Like holding on to things is one of, it's a certain generation's particular downfall, I think.
Yeah.
When you look at that particularly older men generation in the kind of 50s, 60s, I wish that they would not even talk about it to me or anyone specific, like just let it out.
Yeah, that's why we're seeing so much of this like physical tapping or jumping up and down or doing what you can, whether it's through words, through tears, whatever it is, to have that physical and mental release. I actually do the most amazing exercise with my daughter when she's in the mood, right? Every single evening, because, with children, when they finish school, and I definitely do this. I'm like, how was school? What did you have for lunch? Did everyone get on? What did you play? Who did you play with? Et cetera, et cetera. And they're so exhausted because they are suppressing, like children are on, Sunday especially, she's on her best behavior at school. And then when they come home, they're like, she can be so difficult because she feels so comfortable to just go, like let it out to those closest. And she can be like, sometimes, really hard work. And then when it's calmed down, whether it's in the bath or when I'm putting her to bed, we have like 6 emotions. And I have to say, I'm like, right, something that made you laugh today, something that made you feel happy, something that made you feel angry or you were stressed, something that you was nervous about. And we go through the emotions, and she'll say something that, a classmate made her laugh, and she'll tell me this story. So it not only encourages her to have conversation with me, and I'm hearing about her day, and she hears about mine too, because sometimes I'm like, what does mummy do for work? Or like, I say to her, do you ever think about me in the day? She's like, yeah, at lunchtime you pop into my mind. I'm like, honestly, that is the most touching thing you've ever said. So we get to hear about each other's day, but also it allows space for her to speak about her emotions, which is really important. And it's my favourite moment. We talk about the juggle of a busy mum. Like, I have that moment where I can just have quality time with her. And I think it's so important. She's not always in the mood to do this, and that's fine. But it is like our little ritual now where we do it before bed.
I love that. What about with that really neatly segues onto children's mental health, the entire other side of it, because as a parent, you can do everything to make yourself as good as possible, but it will never stop you from worrying regardless. As a parent, you just worry, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can get better at it, you can be terrible at it, but all you want is for your child to be the happiest person in the world, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to overexposure in the world that we live in now, how stimulating it is, social media, how fast world moves, how do we kind of maintain and preserve children's mental health?
Oh, I don't think I'm the person to ask, because it's just it's scary. And I feel like social media and the world that we live in now, it's an experiment. I remember life without it. But of course, my children are they're always going to have it in their lives. And I think especially having girls, like, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I think, oh goodness, like, where's it going to be when they're teenagers? And I do not fear parents who have teenagers who are dealing with this whole Snapchat situation and their children on social media. It must be really challenging, because you're like, I want them to have it so it's a form of communication with their friends, and I don't want them to be the odd one out, but also it can be like a really toxic environment. I think where I'm at now with my children is on my mind all the time, especially with Sunday, because she's now 7 and she's always been in the public eye her whole life. Even when I was pregnant, it was inevitable. Like, that was, sounds so deep, but her destiny. So I made the really hard decision, to stop my reality show after 13 series, because she was so part of it. And I just wanted a time for her to not get in from school and have to film, and not that she felt pressure, but just to she's in year 2 now. And let's say if she wants to go to uni or whatever she wants to do something out of the public eye. I wanted to give enough time so she can go and create her destiny. So yeah, I mean, for me, and I think I speak on behalf of most parents, that the mental health of our children, I think about it all the time, and I'm like, how can I protect her, or how can I make her happy? Even that, I saw something the other day that saying to your children, I just want you to be happy. Even that now is putting pressure on your children, because as we know, happiness is only temporary. So your children are like, I need to be happy all the time for mummy. And it's like, actually Sunday, she's great at really demonstrating and showing how she feels. When she's sad, I mean, she's learning from the best. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. No, but I wear my heart on my sleeve. Like, when I'm sad and when I'm angry or stressed or happy or ecstatic, like, you'll know about it. And she's the same. And I feel like we can only do our best. Like, when I've had therapy sessions where I'm like, oh my God, like, having therapy as a parent, you're thinking, like, fuck, I don't want to, like, destroy. Not that, you know, my mum's amazing. She done nothing wrong. But I think we, as parents, we think, how can I protect my child so they're not going to end up in therapy? You can't. You can only do your best. That's it. You know, we're allowed to get stressed. We're allowed to have these big feelings. And it's a minefield, but I think you can only, I think with Sunday, I'm just trying to be there for her when she has these big feelings and emotions, and just allow her to be her. I don't ever want to suppress anything.
I think what's really, I'm taking from what you've said there, it's one thing as a child to be an excellent communicator and be able to talk to people. It's a whole nother thing to be able to almost self-reflect and be able to talk about your emotions. It's so difficult. I know that as a child, I was terrible at it. I know I started therapy very young, but talking about emotions is difficult. I remember the first time, you know, I did some work at a school recently, and, you know, they were talking about, oh, sometimes I get like this weird thing in my tummy. And so how do you talk about anxiety on a simple level to children of that age, and say, normalize it first of all, and say that it's okay. But then find ways to approach that, deal with it, put in things to help them. And it's so complex. But when children are intelligent enough to talk about that, it's beautiful. Like, honestly, talking about emotions is so difficult.
Well, I think it's like, if a child is having a big tantrum or they're upset about something, it's not to dismiss those emotions. Oh, stop it. You know, like, get on with it. Or, don't get me wrong, a little bit of tough love here or there, but it's not to, like, squash that, because then that will then set the tone of that they then can't talk about their emotions. So it's like saying, sometimes for Sunday, she's stomping down the stairs, and then she's like, I'm cross with you. And I'm like, I get it.
At least you said it.
Be cross with me. But, you know, this is something that I feel with being a parent is, I think the scariest thing is you see so clearly your the sides to your children that are sometimes not, that are like, can be really ugly, and you wince and you're like, oh my God, don't do that, like, don't do that. But then my main thing is to not beat that out of Sunday and my children, because here's my theory, right? Our weaknesses and our flaws in a different environment, they become our strengths. So with Sunday, she is, she's very sort of like, very focused and very, very driven in sports. So, and she really excels and she just goes for it. There's like no nerves, and that pressure, she really excels. And I had a moment where she was running across country. I was like, oh my goodness, that's her. Not a sweat, not a care. She just thrived under pressure. Under pressure in a different environment, she cracks and she's horrendous. And I don't know how to, like, she's going, you know, tantrums, like when we're dealing with food or something and she feels pressured, she'll like really go crazy. But I truly believe with all of us, children and adults, that our weaknesses in a different environment can absolutely be our strengths. So it's about homing those qualities in our children.
Something that you were talking about in terms of your non-negotiables of family well-being is something you did miss off, which I would like to think is pretty important to you. Something to do with dogs and fresh air?
Oh, yes. Getting outside with my wonderful dog and connecting to nature. I just think just going out for a walk with your dog. My dog is, you said before we started recording that is he your best friend? Did you say that?
Yeah. Hamilton is without doubt.
You said that you spend the majority of your time and you were talking to him. Like, they understand what we're saying. Like, my dog, I just love those moments with her and getting outside in the fresh air. Just, you can't beat it.
I know. I think fresh air, putting a podcast on, going for a walk at 7 a.m. It's routine for me. That's great. Making sure I have to do that. I'm accountable for somebody. And then also I get this, you know, love no matter what, I think is beautiful. As a mother, balancing practicality, being, you know, hands-on mum, and style is important. How do you do it?
Style?
How are you doing it?
I'm not.
You are?
No, I'm not.
Yeah?
Thank you so much. But I find hacks to try. Like, this slick bun took me 2 minutes because I had no time. I love when I've got the time to like wear nice clothes, but 9 times out of 10, I'm wearing no makeup. My hair is pineappled on top of my head on the school run, and I'm in gym clothes, even when I'm not going to the gym.
What advice would you give to somebody who is anxious or reluctant to reach out and speak out about how they're feeling?
It's such a tough one because easier said than done, right? When you're in a dark place and you're feeling anxious or stressed or depressed or low, or you feel like you want to throw in the towel, it's so easy to say, just reach out. You know, problem shared is a problem halved. I think that it's about not giving up. And I've got this this quote that my agent told me once, which is, how do you eat an elephant bit by bit? And I done SAS Who Dares Wins in Jordan. I was away from Sunday for 19 days, and every day I was having this mental battle, like, why am I doing this? Why have I decided to be away from her? And it was really, really tough, and I had to dig deep and not look at this task as like this big mammoth task of like, right, I need to get to the end. It was just showing up every day. And I think I took a lot from it in my relationships, in life, when I felt feeling down. It's like, you know, we don't have to look at anxiety as this big mammoth, like, how am I going to ever overcome anxiety? It's just turning up, doing the school drop off, getting up and getting out of bed and going for that walk and figuring out what your triggers are, being aware of them. I think awareness is key before you even begin to talk to someone. And then just get into the next minute, get into the next hour, get into the next day, because sometimes that's all you can do, is just show up and do something different, because any change is going to have a ripple effect. So whether it's getting up at a different time and taking a different route on your dog walk, or doing a different exercise, or eating something different, or just change something, because change creates change.
My final question is, what does the word headstrong mean to you?
That's a great question. What does headstrong mean to me? Knowing yourself, and actually those moments where you've experienced your darkest hours, you're only with yourself. So really getting to know your true self and being strong on you and who you are and what you can bring to the table. I love the fact that there's only one Louis, there's only one Ferne, there's only one you, and that is your absolute USP, that nobody else can bring what you can bring to the table, and being strong on that, knowing that you have something that you can offer, because we all experience imposter syndrome, we all compare ourselves to others, we all experience rejection, heartbreak, and we all suffer and have experienced trauma. But just knowing, no, I have got something that I can bring to the table, and tuning in on that strength. And you can't be headstrong without going through those dark times, because I'm sure yourself, I don't know much about your story, but it's those really shitty times that make us and shape us who we are today.
100%.
That is where resilience comes from.
So true. I loved that answer. Genuinely. Sometimes we have some okay ones. That's up there.
Good.
I really loved that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
I really loved it. Really, really appreciate it. And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
There we go.